It's a big-time matchup against one of the NFL's best offenses in 2025. Empower Field, Mile High, Week 8, Denver Broncos versus Dallas Cowboys. Welcome in Broncos country to the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. On today's episode, I'm going to give you the top storylines surrounding the Denver Broncos and the Cowboys games, some keys to victory. We're going to break down some quarterback plays, and just maybe you'll learn a little bit about what this game means for Javonte Williams. So, here's what I want to start by saying. After the week the Denver Broncos have had, it feels like this is more of an electric surge behind the team than I've seen in a long time. When you hear later on in today's live show about what Bo Nix is doing with the offense, it will amaze you at what kind of leadership skills this kid has at his younger age, or I don't want to say younger age. He's an older second-year player, but he is only a second-year player. But with this electric surge comes the good vibes and the understanding that the Denver Broncos have the mentality right now that it is us against the rest of the league. And if you want to shut up the rest of the NFL, if you want the Broncos to win on Sunday, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up icon. Let's get the W. We're still on a winning streak. We're at the very top of the AFC West, and we are against the world. So do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up button. All right, let's talk about the storylines that you need to know. Number one, the Dallas Cowboys, the worst defense in the NFL, plain and simple. You don't need to go through each and every statistical category that the Dallas Cowboys are terrible at. We know that they're absolutely awful. Matt Eberflus, former Chicago Bears head coach, is now their defensive coordinator, and it is showing in their EPA just how bad of a hire he was. They're the worst EPA defense in the league. They stink. And if you notice, the Denver Broncos, by EPA standards, are actually second in the NFL, only behind the Minnesota Vikings. But specifically, this is a team that you can run the football against, right? This is going to be a J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey. Let's eat on the ground. Why? The Cowboys' run defense is bad, right? Look how bad it is. They are 30th in yards per game on the ground. They are tied for 23rd in rushing touchdowns allowed. Explosive runs, almost dead last. They are 30th in that. Stuff rate, 14.2%. I could go on and on and on about how bad this Cowboys run defense is. They can't guard anything. They can't guard anyone. The only way the Dallas Cowboys win is when they get in shootouts. When they score 36 points or 37 points, they can beat you. But if you limit the Dallas Cowboys to 17 points, to 20 points or 21 points, you have a pretty good shot at beating them. Hell, the Carolina Panthers beat them earlier, and they beat them one way on the ground. But this is also an opportunity for Bo Nix to go up against a really bad pass defense as well. It might be a little bit better against the pass than it is against the run, but it's not much better. But let's just break down Bo for a second. I mean, this is from 10 to 19 yards. These numbers aren't that great. And then when you look at Bo's 20-plus yards per attempt, it's really bad. So this is Bo Nix throwing the ball past 20 yards. I mean, 30th in completion percentage, 19th in yards per attempt, 8.2. So even when he is stretching the ball down the field, it's not very far. It's just, he's got to get better at throwing the deep ball. But against the Dallas Cowboys defense that gave up 31 points and 297 yards and 3 touchdowns to Caleb Williams, I'm thinking Bo Nix can absolutely eat on the Dallas Cowboys. I really do think he can. And this is his time to shine. This is your time to score early and often. Showcase the prep work. Showcase the arm talent. Showcase the pocket mobility. Get out and make plays happen. Because against the Giants last week, we talked about it. You're going up against a really, really good defensive front seven. The Cowboys don't have that. Their pass rush is not very good. Their run defense is abysmal. And their pass defense is bottom 20. You can do so much against this defense. And it's about time the Denver Broncos offense had an easier matchup to showcase their ability. Let's move into the second storyline for Broncos versus Cowboys, one that I'm sure every Broncos fan is ready to acknowledge. This is a revenge game for Javonte Williams. Now, I don't necessarily mean that Javonte holds the largest grudge against Sean Payton or against the Denver Broncos. I don't think he does. But I'm sure that he had this game circled. He heard all of the noise during the offseason and in free agency about how the Broncos needed to attack the running back position. Well, that's his position. So naturally, it's going to make him feel a little bit undesired, unwanted, and he has definitely had a resurgence this season with the Dallas Cowboys. I'll be the first one to admit, Javonte has been great, and he was supplanted by J.K. Dobbins, who is playing very well right now for the Denver Broncos. Now, the last couple of games has been a little bit slower than we anticipated, but if we can all just take a step back for a second and just talk about the play from Dobbins in 2025 as a whole, it's one of his best seasons, period. And if you don't believe me, the numbers between the two of them are very, very similar. Believe it or not, Javonte Williams has actually had a little bit better of a season. He has. Both have played 7 games. He's had 6 more carries, about, 69 more yards, a little bit more in average yards per carry. He scored a little bit more than J.K. Dobbins, and his PFF grade is a little bit higher. So you could look at this and say, Javonte's having a better year than J.K. Dobbins. Now, again, this doesn't take anything into account like pass catching. This doesn't take anything into account like run blocking. This doesn't take anything into account with the actual success of the season, because we do know the Denver Broncos have a better record right now than Javonte Williams. I will say this also. I still support Javonte. I think before the injury, Javonte Williams was having an unbelievable career in Denver, and it just so happens that after the injury happened, it just never looked quite the same. And that's unfortunate. And I also know that Sean Payton, the Denver Broncos, and every other NFL franchise, they have to make tough decisions sometimes. Javonte Williams will continue to be one of my favorite Broncos. I wish nothing but the best for him. But you can't tell me as a Denver Broncos fan after last year, you weren't hoping that some changes need to be made. And they were. You drafted R.J. Harvey, you signed J.K. Dobbins, and everybody goes along their own ways and everybody's happy. But if you had to pick one running back right now in this game, who would you pick? Now, I'm not saying based off of who's having the better season, but J.K. Dobbins versus the Cowboys defense versus Javonte Williams against the Broncos defense. Who would you rather have? I think the answer is pretty obvious. I'm typing my JKs for J.K. Dobbins in the comment section down below. Coming up, I'm going to give into more Broncos versus Cowboys storylines, including what we need to know about the most recent NFL news. But before I do that, I got to tell you about our friends over at PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every single day, but on PrizePicks, being right can actually get you paid. You don't want to miss any of the excitement this football season on PrizePicks, where it is good to be right. PrizePicks is the only place now where you can follow other PrizePicks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in just one click, whether it is a friend, a celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like. Hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the brand new Feed tab over on PrizePicks. I made a lineup for you guys. I went very generic NFL this time. I went Carson Wentz for Thursday Night Football. They take on the Chargers. And I went the less because I do believe he's going to throw for less passing yards. Jalen Hurts, I've got the more on the passing touchdowns, and Jamar Chase, give me the more on the rushing plus receiving touchdowns. Yours can look like this, but it doesn't have to. Just download the PrizePicks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It is good to be right. Third storyline you need to know about the Cowboys versus the Broncos. Dak is balling out right now. So while you might have gone up against a very good young gun in Jackson Dart last week, Dak Prescott is no young gun. He's just playing like a savvy, smart, and incredibly talented veteran. And I've never been the biggest Dak Prescott fan, but I will admit, he's playing some of the best football of his entire career. There's no doubt about it. But that doesn't mean that he's like Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't mean he's Josh Allen or Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson. But he is doing really, really well, completing 67% of his passes. He's thrown for 505 yards against the blitz. Yards per attempt against the blitz is also fantastic. He's thrown 5 touchdowns against a very scheme-heavy blitz operation, which Vance Joseph loves to do. So this is a guy that can beat you in a multitude of ways. He can beat you with his cadence. He can beat you with his audibles at the line of scrimmage, and you just can't blitz him over and over again. He gets rid of the ball too quickly. But Dak Prescott is not Superman, like I said. If you put enough pressure on him, if you force him outside of the pocket, if you try to get him on the run, you can force him to lose football games. I think it's unfortunate that CeeDee Lamb comes back now, and he's their number one option alongside George Pickens. So it's going to be Pat Surtain on CeeDee Lamb, and it's going to be Riley Moss on George Pickens. That's going to be a tough matchup for Riley. He's played better in recent games, but we still have a lot to see still from Riley. Here's also what I know about Dak Prescott. This is a player that, truthfully, he relies a lot on the weapons around him. So if you can make other players' lives a living hell, he's not going to be the type of player that beats you with his legs. He can't run nearly as much as he used to be able to do. Dak Prescott is also playing at a very impressive rate when it comes to the MVP odds. So right now, he might not be at the very top, but he's definitely within the conversation. And I think the reason he's not higher in this conversation is because the Dallas Cowboys have had such a really, really bad performance on defense. They're 3-3-1. But if you look at EPA per play per quarterback, Dak's number one. Higher than Mahomes, higher than Drake May, Daniel Jones, and Baker, who are all having spectacular seasons for their respective teams. So Dak Prescott is definitely one of those players that if you allow him time in the pocket, if you allow him time to just sit back and carve you over the middle, he will do so. But this is also one of the toughest defenses that Dak has played all season long. There's no doubt about it. Dak is going up against one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the National Football League. I know last week it was really, really tough to see how great the Broncos defense was. But that's also because they were incredibly frustrated with how bad the offense was performing. So Dak is going to be going up against Nick Bonito, Zach Allen, Jonathan Cooper, the pass rush, Pat Surtain, and this Denver Broncos defense. I'm sure the Broncos defense can win that matchup. They can beat anybody in the league at any time. Last bit of news here, recent events. And the reason that I say that recent events play a factor in the narrative of this game is because you can't tell me that Broncos fans haven't been listening to the news, they haven't been listening to the Broncos breakdown, they haven't been hearing what people are saying over on Twitter and over on on Instagram and on Facebook and every single outlet. They know what's been going on. They know about the Russell Wilson beef where he called out Sean Payton on Twitter, something that we're not going to deep dive too much into, but I thought that this was a telling statement from Russell Wilson. Just shows how much we live rent-free in his head, continuing to this. I mean, who puts "let's ride" on the back end of his tweet after he's no longer a Denver Bronco? It's been retired, and he's on the damn New York Giants, rent-free in his head. And also, Dre Greenlaw getting suspended. That's got to fire up a bunch of different Broncos players. Hell, I just saw that Justin Stranad got fined as well for that role that he played in the incident, which is another load of BS. The Broncos clearly right now are the subject of a lot of different conversations. It is up to Sean Payton, every single player in that locker room, to make sure that they take their very best efforts, channel out, funnel out all that BS, and go in clear, energetic, focused, and ready to beat the Dallas Cowboys. I'm absolutely sure on it. Absolutely positive on it. So it definitely plays a factor into this week. But true consummate professionals will absolutely make sure that they don't have a single thing clouding their vision. This is the time to strike. The Broncos have to make another statement win. They have to prove that they are one of the best in the NFL. Period. Period. And that's all I got to say about it. Do the Broncos continue their winning streak? Yes or no? Let me know in the comment section down below. I think they do. I think they win this game. I think they win a very high-scoring game. I think it'll be 31-24. Give me the Denver Broncos in Week 8 against the Dallas Cowboys. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. A reminder to hit that subscribe button, like today's video if you haven't already, and as always, be cool.